first day back was the winning coach and a guy who has built Villanova into a dynasty in recent years, and that is Villanova head coach Jay Wright. Jay, welcome. How are you?
Mike, how are you, buddy? Welcome back,
Thank
man.
you. Thank you. It's nice to be back. Nice for you to grace our first show. And I guess you may have upset some Knicks fans by not agreeing to be interviewed for the job. So I guess the Knicks had some interest and you had none.
No, not really. I just love my job at Villanova, so I'm not entertaining any job opportunities anywhere. I stay here, and I know those guys well, so they know I want to stay at Villanova, and it's still the Knicks, man.
It's nice to be asked, though. It's nice to be asked. Hey, anytime you've gotten to a point in your life when the Knicks call and ask you if you want to be their coach, that's a heck of an honor. You know that?
You're exactly right, and there's nowhere like coaching in the Garden and coaching in New York Knicks. You're exactly right. I just happen to love being at Villanova and don't want to, entertain any thoughts of other jobs because I love it here. But the Knicks, everybody in basketball knows the Knicks are the Knicks and the Garden's the Garden, and there's no place like it in the world.
Well, what Philly's become right now with the Eagles and you guys, the Phillies are playing better. I mean, and now the Sixers with their good young players, I mean, they're on the verge of some big things down there.
They really are, man. This team, the addition of Ilyasova, Bellinelli, these experience. They brought on experience, and they brought on shooters. Right as these young guys started to mature, it was perfect timing, and these guys are really playing well because it enables them to really use the young. The young guys in a way with shooters around them. Ben Simmons can isolate and play inside, and Embiid can actually shoot it. So the addition of those shooters was brilliant, I think, on Brian Colangelo's part, and it makes them a really tough team.
This run that you had this year, your team was so brilliant in the Final Four, executed against Kansas as well as anybody's ever executed in a Final Four game. I mean, there's a Kansas team that was really good. They just had no chance. I mean, you had one of those days where you played the perfect game. I mean, every shot went down. I mean, it was unbelievable. But I think back to the journey, and you and I obviously were texting during the tournament back and forth, but the West Virginia moments against that very talented defensive team was an interesting test for you and for your team in the second half of that game.
Yeah, definitely. You don't know it at the time, but when you look back, at the run, you say there was a point in that game where we were down 6 in the second half, and their physicality, their defense was starting.
Their quickness, which is unbelievable, right?
It is. It really is. They're physical and tough, but they are really quick too. It was starting to get to us, and it was unbelievable. We got a timeout. We got to the foul line. We scored and got a foul. So it's a 6-point game. We get it to 4. We miss the free throw. We get the offensive rebound and score, and it's a 4-point play right there, and all of a sudden now it's 2, and that's a major difference. Like that game could have gotten away from us right there, and as you look back on it, that was probably the scariest moment in the tournament for us.
Everyone talks about your guards and obviously the kids who they know and the ones who are going to play in the NBA, but your development, when I saw you in December, and we saw you in Nassau Coliseum that night, I took the boys over to see you, and I watched where Spellman was and where Spellman was in March. I mean, the development of guys like him, what Pascal gave you, what Spellman gave you, his development was unbelievable last year.
Yeah, you're right. That was the difference. And it was, Eric Pascal doesn't get talked about enough.
No, he's a very important player for you guys.
He really is. And, he is developing into a guy that was a kind of a forward coming into college and developed to, by the end of that tournament, he's playing like a 2-guard, but with power forward size. And then Spellman, in the same way, he's just a kid that was playing in his first year, and he just got better and better and better, to the point where at the end of the tournament in the Michigan game, Spellman is playing his best basketball, and he's working out now for the NBA draft, and he's playing his best basketball right now. He's just improved every day, and he continues to work hard and improve. So the timing of that as you go through a tournament, we've had different teams that have made runs to a Final Four, but this team was getting better between the Kansas game and the Michigan game. It just had so much upside because of the young guys, because of Spellman and also Pascal.
And also, you had so many different guys that could make a three, and so many guys. Brunson was so within himself and so in control at all times. And then to see, DiVincenzo have that kind of explosiveness. He has almost the kind of explosiveness that Thompson at Golden State has. I mean, he can play it almost like that. I mean, he doesn't handle well enough yet, which was exposed in the West Virginia game. But other than that, he is incredibly explosive.
He really is. And much like Thompson, he can play off the ball when he needs to. He's a great catch and shoot guy. He's got tremendous range, and he is really explosive with the ball. He's another guy. He's got a chance.
I think he's going to be a good pro.
Yeah, I do. I do too. It's just going to be a matter of whether this is the best year for him to do it or not. But
right, and he can go back and forth. Right, he can still go back if he wants. Right.
Yeah. He and Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges both have one more year of eligibility,
right.
but they're both graduating, and both of those guys have agents.
Right.
Pascal, who's actually graduating this year too,
right.
He's got another year. He's going to come back. Omari Spellman and Dante DiVincenzo, those two did not hire agents, and they're going to go through the pre-draft process. They're going to go to the combine.
And Bridges has become such a, talk about a guy who's going to be good in the NBA the way they play now. I mean, he's got unlimited range and incredible confidence on his shot now.
I think he's going to be a really good pro because what he developed each year was he was a great defender and rebounder and shot maker where he could defend any position and he could make threes. And then the next year he started to develop into a guy that could move without the ball, that could handle the ball better. And then his third year he became the guy that could go get his own shot. And that's what I think elevated him into possible lottery status, where he's great defender, great rebounder, great shooter, but he can go get his own shot.
We're talking with Jay Wright, who is staying put at the school he loves, Villanova, after leading them to a second national championship. You're the winningest program over the last 6 years. You've won 2 championships in recent years. You've also been a dominant program. You haven't been lower than, I think, 6 in the polls or 7 in the polls in the last 6 years. I mean, it's amazing what you've built. You've built what Duke has, and they following you now. I mean, Duke, Kentucky, Carolina, etc. And you do it without some of the players they draft and they recruit rather. What is the secret to allow you to have been this consistent over this period of time with this program?
It's really good players, Mike. I mean, we've been getting the guys like just below the really hyped one and done guys, but they're pros, and they stay in college. They want to be in college. They want to improve. They want to get better. And we've also caught a number of breaks where every time we get to the point where guys could stay for their senior year or leave at the end of their junior year. Every time those guys, it started with Daniel Chefu. The year we won it in 16, he could have left at the end of that year. He stayed. Then Josh Hart could have left. He stayed. Then Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges could have left. They stayed. We've been very fortunate with that. Now, we're probably going to get the opposite this year,
right,
where we could get hit being really young next year, and our young guys aren't really like the Kentucky young guys. I mean, they're not guys that are one and done guys their first year. So, you know what, we might be a little bit young for a year, but we look forward to that process. We still got 2 great leaders in in Phil Booth and Eric Pascal, who I think could be great players. And maybe we got to go through some tough times at the beginning of the year and then grow into a really good team by the end of the year.
The system you play now, can you plug players in and recruit to that system, or will you have to tweak it based on personnel?
We always tweak based on personnel. There's basic concepts that we stick to, but we always base.
Well, you want an interchangeable, very versatile type of player, and you want them all to be able to shoot, which is something that obviously is lethal when you can get it.
Exactly, and and you're not going to have it. Like, we had 6 guys average double figures this year. That's probably never going to happen.
And they could
again.
all make a 3.
Yeah. Probably never going to happen again. But we have had some successful teams without that. Without having guys that are that skilled offensively. But like for instance, this year, we found out at the end of last year that Jalen Brunson can really play in the post. So
right.
We adjusted to his strengths, and he was our post player.
Well, his head fakes are unbelievable. His ability to control his body is unreal. It really is.
It is. It really is.
He's going to be a good pro.
I agree,
think he's going to be. Look, Van Vliet is a good NBA player. He's going to be a good backup point guard for somebody for a long time.
You know what? And I think he's going to probably be brought in as a backup point guard, but I think somebody's going to get that kid on their team. The starting point guard is going to get hurt, and they're going to play him, and they're going to see this guy's a starter. Because you look at, like, Larkin last night in the game for the Celtics.
Yep.
I mean, Jalen's a lot like that, and physically tough, really intelligent, and a great leader. I think he's going to be a great pro, but I am
interesting.
biased.
Oh, so you think he'll be? I thought he'd be like a guy who's got a 10-year career as a good, solid backup. You think he could be more than that?
I do. I really do. And okay. I think that's what most guys look at him as, Mike. Just as you said, most NBA guys. But you just know
him.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in the kid's. He won 2 national championships in 3 years, and in the year in between, he won a Big East championship, regular season championship, and a Big East tournament championship. And we got beat in a close game against Wisconsin. In the second round, he makes his team win, and put players around him, NBA players around him. He's had good players here, obviously, very good players, but that kid, he can do everything to make his team win. He's better defensively than people think. He's more athletic than people think, and he can do anything offensively, anything. I really do. I think he's going to wind up being a starter in the league and really successful.
It's amazing what you've accomplished. A couple of years ago, you're winning 30 games and getting beat in the second round, and people are screaming about you. And now you've won 2 national championships. And I bet you tell me you're not a better coach now than you were a couple of years ago. That is what happens in March, right?
Yes, exactly. And one of the things that's hard to do is, when you get beat in those second round games, in your gut, you really believe, okay, we're doing the right things. We just got a tough matchup. We got a tough game here, tough game there. But you're hearing it, and you're thinking, in your head, it's telling you, all right, should you change some things? And I'm glad we were patient enough just to stick with what we're doing, stick with our guys, and then we got some good matchups. But the tournament is so much about, like, that West Virginia game. We could have lost that game.
No question.
They were just as good, and we made some plays that down 6. We score, miss a free throw, get an offensive rebound on a free throw, get that game back to 1 or 2 there. That was huge. We don't score, they get it to 8. As good as they are defensively, it's tough. Maybe you don't recover. So you know it. You know how fragile it is. I've told a couple guys, and we're out on the road recruiting, and now, you don't see guys until then. They come and say congrats, and some teams played us close. And I remember when we lost to Carolina and they went on to win the national tournament, I'm thinking, how close are we? How close are we? So the other guys that played close, I told them, you're close, man. Trust me, you're close. It really does work that way.
Well, to win 1 is hard. To win 2 in a couple of years, I mean, that is unbelievable. And to win that second championship separates you. I mean, that is something special. For a guy who was at Hofstra a while ago and thinking about, where his career was going to be, and now what you've done is unbelievable. I mean, to win 2 national championships puts you on a very special level. It really does. 1's one thing, 2 is different.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, man. it's kind of uncomfortable to think about that. I really enjoy. I'm really in the mindset now. Like, you know what? If DiVincenzo is a first-round pick and Omari Spellman's a first-round pick, and we lose those guys, and we have 4 first-round picks, that's a great thing. But then I'm more concerned about them. What are we going to do next year? We got some young guys. We got to get them to step up. But I enjoy that. I really do. Like I enjoy the challenge of seeing what our young guys can do and seeing how we can put this group together for next year. That's the part you really love about it.
Well, listen, congratulations. Thanks for coming on. It was a great run by your team, and thanks, as always, being part of the program. Appreciate it.
Thanks, boy. Thanks for taking care of me.
Thank you.
A nice tie on that you sent me, man.
I saw it.
Gave me.
I saw you wearing it on TV. Yes, I did. Thank you.
I liked it, man.
Thanks.
Good to have you back, buddy.
Thank you. Jay Wright. And I took my boys to see him at Nassau Coliseum in December, right before Christmas. So I said, we're going to go see Coach Wright tonight. He took them in a locker room. He gave them, let them hear the team speech. He gave them a pep talk. He gave them these Villanova wristlets that off the players' arms that they were wearing, his attitude and this and that. So we brought him a present. So I went in and we got him a tie. We were Christmas shopping. So we brought him a tie and he wore it during the NCAA tournament. So that's what he was alluding to. All right, here's the Mink Man.